the fabulous Pamela Steele with me. Yay! Happy Psychic Sunday. I've never said that on, 15 years of doing the shows. We used to do Psychic Saturday. And I'm like, wait, Sunday's got an S. That sounds good. Let's do Happy Psychic Sunday. Yeah. How you doing, Pam?
Roughly perfect. And how is Dax today?
Pretty good. Little tired. I mean, there's been a lot over the last week. Anyway, but I'm here. I'm ready to talk about numerology. We're going to talk about numerology today. What's a numerology chart? You've heard of astrology charts, right? Well, it's pretty close. Yep. So you can join us in, I'm pointing at the the chat, got my chat here. You can join us in the chat live and chat about anything you want. If somehow you're watching this, because I know when I post on YouTube, when I post the YouTube link on X, Twitter, or somewhere, some places you can actually play the video. And so you may be watching this somewhere where there isn't the chat. So for this show and for all of our shows, you just go to psychic.cafe/live. So you open a new tab in your browser, type in psychic.cafe/live, and you can do that for any of our shows. So after our live show, I'll put the new link in there, and whenever you want to find out about our next live show, just type that in and it'll take you right there. And you can join us in the chat. You can ask anything you want. Questions about, how does tarot work and numerology, the Tarot Guild celebrating 20 years, folks. 20 years. Yes. So if you have questions about joining the Tarot Guild, you do not have to be a professional to join the Tarot Guild. That's our big push right now, Pam, is because we have a lot of viewers and you get a lot of benefit out of the membership. Even if you're not a professional, you're not going to get certified in tarot or numerology or something like that, because you can now join us on these Zooms live with us. And that's a big perk because we take your question first and we spend more time with you and we let you ask additional questions. Plus, you're up here on camera with us. Or if, for some reason you're shy or, your camera's not working, whatever, you can join us just audio only. Yeah. And it's really neat on Zoom. You can press a button to raise your hand. We know you have a question. You can ask questions. Maybe you're already a member and you want to ask questions about, how do I set up my business on Psychic Cafe? How do I get my custom URL for my profile? Everybody gets a free profile, but when you join as a member, you get a custom link to it. In fact, like Pam's, I'll put them up here. Michelle's supposed to be with us too, but she's running late. So I told her to pop in late. She may or may not make it, but it's okay. But here you see psychic.cafe/Pamela, psychic.cafe/Michelle. Those are the custom links that you get when you're a member. But even if you're not a professional, you're not going to use that, you can join us for our live workshops and classes. And the big perk of being able to join us here live on camera or audio only and chat with us. And we take your questions first, and then we take the questions in chat. So that's the big benefit. Let me put in the chat here where you can go to learn more about the membership. It's real easy. Psychic.cafe/guild. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Let me do it again. I gotta remove that one. I screwed it up. There we go. Psychic.cafe/guild. It'll tell you all about the guild, and how we're celebrating our 20 years when we started. And then there's bullet points that have a listing of all the benefits you get. There's so much. I can't even name it right now. It would take half the show. So go over to psychic.cafe/guild and you can join there. And it's the cost of a latte at Starbucks a month. It's like $6.50 a month, $78 for the year. Where did I get that number, right? From the number of cards in the tarot deck. Unless you have the Steel Wizard Tarot, which is 88 cards. But yeah, I'm going to use yours as an example next time, Pam. I'm going to, move the price up to $88. So everybody grab it now while it's 78 bucks. Yep. Yep. I also wanted to mention, now that I'm talking and I'm on a ramble about this stuff, let me make sure I get this URL right. So I'm going to actually go over to Psychic Cafe. And yeah, it's www.psychic.cafe. We're not a .com, .net, .co. We're a .cafe, which is really cool that we got that. And I'm going to grab the link for my course. If you want to learn numerology and tarot together, I have the Tarot by Numbers course. And it's psychic.cafe/course. It's $299 right now. And I just added a payment plan. So if you need a little help, 99, I think it's like 99.99 a month. So you pay 99 over 3 months to break it up, make it a little easier for you, or $299. And I'm throwing in what I was just discussing, membership in the guild for a year. You get your first year free. And I'm throwing certification in. So you're saving, let's see, certification's $138 per level. You're saving $138 on your first level. You're saving $78. It's over $200 in savings when you grab my course. Okay. So I just wanted to let everybody know about all of that. Let's see. Let's say hi to some people. Sorry, let me take a sip here. Does everybody have their coffee or tea? Hey, we're in a cafe.
I'm a water baby.
Or water. Yep, gotta have the water when you're on air.
I'm
There's
just playing with Dan in the chat. Like, ooh, it's kind of a tradition.
yeah, Dan's in there. One of our regulars, Cold Wind. Taya, how did you say to pronounce Taya's name?
Hey, I gotta look at it. Tasia V. Tasia V. Tasia. Something. Tasia V.
I'm gonna
Tasia
call it.
V.
I'm gonna call
Tasia
her.
V.
I'm gonna call her Taya, and Taya has
Tasia.
the first question. We'll be getting to questions in a little bit here, folks. So hang in there. One of our regulars, first name, last name, just came in. Yes, their screen name is first name, last name. So I just call them first. It's easier, right? And we'll give more time for people to get in here before we get to questions. I did pick a card of the day from the Steel Wizard Tarot. Yes, here's the link. Psychic.cafe/Steel Wizard. You can grab the Steel Wizard Tarot. And I'm going to grab the link while we're talking about it. I already put it in the chat, but I'm going to put it in again. There we go. Psychic.cafe/Steel Wizard. Steel has an E on the end of it. And you can grab, what is it? What is it right now? I'm going to check. Sometimes there's a
I
sale.
don't know.
It's
I haven't looked today.
It's a tradition on this show. Whenever Pamela's on here, we check the price of Steel Wizard. On Amazon, it's $34.99. It's regular price right now, and you get the nice box set and and it's magnetic. Oh God, I love this box. And you get this fabulous thick book and the deck, obviously, right there in the middle. Awesome. So grab your copy, and this is where you go. Psychic Cafe/Steel Wizard. And for the card of the day, I got card 15, Materialism, which you guys would know as that scary devil card. That's right. So the message coming through today for everybody, and this is for everybody, feeling trapped by negative habits, attachments, or limiting beliefs, urging self-awareness and the need to break free from self-imposed bondage. it's really clear on the Rider-Waite-Smith version that it's self-imposed because they have the chains around their neck and it's really loose. They could just grab it and pull it off their heads and get away. So it's self-imposed. So we're and speaking of numerology, because we're going to talk about numerology charts today. What's a numerology chart? So we're in a 9-world year. It's the end of the cycle. We all go through the entire world. Sometimes it's called the universal year number. We go through these 9-year cycles, 1 through 9, and we're at the end, and 9 is completion. 9 is in numerology, it's the Mother Teresa number, the philanthropist, leadership, things like that. But when we're at the end of a cycle, and we also all have our personal year numbers, we talked a lot about that in the beginning of the year. We do every year so people can get ready for the year. What's the world year number? And then the second thing you want to look at is what's your personal year, because it doesn't always line up with the world year. Okay. Because it's when you're born, it's from your birth date, the month and the day you're born, add it to the world year number, which comes from the year number. So we're in 2025. 2 + 2 is 4, + 5 is 9. That's where that comes from. You add that to the month and day and keep adding the numbers together. If you have 2 digits till you get down to 1 digit, and that is your personal year number. So you want to look at all this. And whether you're in a 9 personal year or as we are now, we're all in a world year of 9. You want to look at the things that are no longer serving you. So when this card came up, I said, oh, wow, this is perfect. Here we are. We're in March. We're about to go into April. The middle of the year isn't that far away, so time to get on this, folks. Literally and figuratively clean out your closets, things you haven't touched in 6 months, 6 years. Let it go, folks. And then relationships that no longer serve you, beliefs that no longer serve you, negative habits that no longer serve you. Painful as it may be, this card asks you to own your bondage, to be self-aware, own the stories that you tell, and recognize when you are creating stories to hold yourself down. Maybe you need a new story. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of? Because ultimately, this scary old card, the devil, is about confronting the fear inside. That's what this is about. And I love Pamela's version, materialism, because it makes it a whole lot less scary. I want to ask you, Pam, so the figure in the card is reaching up to grab something. Do you want to explain that?
That's a rope, and all he's got to do is drop the bag of treasures that he's holding. I mean, this is gold
Mm.
and silver and all this. If he really wants to reach it, all he's got to do is let go of what's holding him down. And then he would be able to grab that rope and pull himself out. But he's not willing to let go of it yet.
That's what's holding. And materialism, things, what do they say in the East all the time? That let go of your attachments to things. Here in the West, we're all about acquiring more and more crap. If I can say that on air, I don't. We just got demonetized. It's okay. uh
He did? How
yeah,
come?
but no, I'm just kidding. No, so,
Oh, okay.
well,
Okay. Don't scare me like that.
no, but when you say on certain videos, if you say the wrong words, yeah, the algorithm, it scans all the videos, and if you say the wrong thing, you'll get demonetized. Not the entire. I mean, it can happen where you lose the whole channel monetization, but that's rare. It's mostly individual videos. So you'll say an expletive like the F words, F bombing or other things. Hi,
Michelle's here.
Michelle. Michelle's coming. Um,
Hi.
hi. Okay,
Michelle's here.
hang on, Michelle. I got to finish this up.
Okay.
So, sometimes you'll get demonetized on a particular video. So any ads on that video, you're not getting, ad share, AdSense. Just wanted to say that. But just to finish up on this, because we just talked about the materialism and, things, and, he's reaching up, and if he would just let go of that, he could grab the rope. Well, it's also not just material things, it's also everything else, and I love how it's a bag, because not only can it be, good things that you're holding on to that's, preventing you from reaching the rope and move and climbing out of that, whatever he's in, well, or whatever. It's also the negative stuff, the baggage. So I love that he's holding a bag. It's baggage. So old relationships and your thoughts around them that are preventing you from making new connections, right? Habits, smoking, overeating, all that kind of thing. Beliefs that you're not good enough,
Yes.
or you can't do public speaking, or all these kind of things. That's what you're holding on to. Pamela, did you pull a card of the day?
I did.
Oh,
Actually, I did
cool.
it for the show.
For the show.
And
Yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah, first thing I want to point out is that something very interesting has been happening for about a year and a half. Is the number 23 has been following me around, and this year, you add my birthday and the year together, like we do for our year, our personal year. What I got was 23, which breaks down into 5, and ironically, that's the card I pull 5, number 5 in the majors for the card of the day, and in the Steel Wizard, it is still the Hierophant. Okay.
Cool.
But the way I read the Hierophant is about traditions. And I mean, there's nothing more, in my opinion, traditional than numerology, because numbers speak to everybody. Everybody. You some have postulated that perhaps, when we reach out into the galaxies and the universes and say, here we are, it being done with numbers is more universal than if we were doing it with any language, as it so to speak.
Right.
So I think what we're looking at today is the traditions surrounding numerology and how in our personal lives it can be so very important. And that's why I was really excited when Dax asked me to co-host today. I don't know squat about numerology. Well, not really, but I love numbers. I do. And they are magic in and of themselves, no doubt. So take it away, Dax. And God, I'm glad to see
Well,
Michelle here.
you're definitely been learning more, because if you hang around long enough on this show, yeah, we talk a lot of tarot and Lenormand and oracle decks and things like that, but numerology is another one of our big things. And like you said, I mean, numbers predate language. We counted before we now numerology is not just about counting. It's not mathematics, and you don't need to have a degree in analysis or something. I'm trying to think of some of the different oh gosh, God, my mind's just blanking today. I'm trying to think of some of the sciences that are around math, but let's yeah, there's statistical analysis, and and number theory
Sacred geometry.
and all this
Sacred
stuff.
geometry is another one.
Yeah. And it's not just, Pythagoras is thought of as the father of numerology, Greek philosopher, and he talked about the energies of the number, the essences of it, not just adding and subtracting things and doing algebra and all, and to do numerology, you just need to know the essences that I just mentioned about the 9 numbers. There's only the 9 numbers in numerology, and that's it. Everything else gets reduced. If you have 123, that's 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 3 is 6. The energy of 123 is 6. So I don't care if it's a 5-digit number, you can reduce, we call it reduction. You reduce the number to a single digit, one of the 9 numbers. Now we do have numbers that we don't reduce. They're called master numbers. And coincidentally, that's what we're going to be talking about on Wednesday.
Yay.
Yeah, it's Wednesday. No, I'm sorry. Next Sunday, a week
Mm.
today. Yeah, I'm looking at my calendar now. March 26th is what's your life path. We're going to be talking about that. But Sunday, March 30th, and Pamela, you're welcome to join us next
I
Sunday
will.
if you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
What are master numbers? And they're not what everybody thinks. Everybody thinks of the two digit, like 11, 22, 33, 44. Those are the ones that people think about. The master illuminator number 11, 22 is the master builder number, 33 is the master teacher slash master healer. Some people just call it the master healer number. And then 44 is the master manifestor number. Very few people on the planet do does their life path number, which is your entire birth date added up and reduced. You can always get to a single digit because even 44 or 4 plus 4 is 8, so they would normally be an 8. But that combination where as you add the numbers together, and that's how you get the master numbers from to see if you have a master number in your birth date, is you add the numbers together and you're going to get probably 2 digits, and then you add those together and you make it 2 digits again or a single digit. You just keep adding till you get a single digit. Mine is 6, but before that final reduction to 6, I'm a 33. So I'm the master teacher, master healer. That's why I do a lot of the stuff I do. It's why I do tarot. That's why I do hypnotherapy, NLP. That's why I teach a course and teach workshops and classes and everything like that. It's my path, you know. 44 is extremely rare. These are the master manifestors. If they're working the energy in the positive, let me mention that real quick. If you don't work within the stream of that 44 energy, it just reduces to 8, which is perfectly
Mhm.
fine. A lot of what you do and what you're attracted to and so forth, it's all going to be that 8 energy of abundance, which is still really good. But if you're in alignment with that 44 energy, I mean, you can snap your fingers and it appears. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just really great. Now with the abundance number, unlike the other numbers in numerology, 1 through 9, your life path. That's what I love, because sun signs, there's 12 sun signs. You only have to memorize 9 numbers for life paths. That's another reason why I never became an astrologer and I love numerology. So, 8 is that one number that most of them have a spectrum. There's a lot of gray area, but 8 is that one number where either money slips right through your fingers or you're able to do great investments and build businesses, or a career that's fabulous, and you make a lot of money. But with a lot of people, it slips right through their fingers. And remember, 44 reduces to 8. So it's the
Mhm.
same thing. It's extremely rare that someone is a 44 life path. 44/8 is how we write it as a numerologist. And when they are, again, most of them never use this magical power that they have. They struggle through life and they're a 44. You know, they could be the next, Elon Musk, and have $400 billion, or Bill Gates or Bezos, or if you don't like Elon anymore.
I do.
And
I
I
really
do. I
like
know a
him.
friend. I have a good friend who she is a 44
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
she's working on it. She's learning. And
Awesome.
we all know her. She comes in often, so
Yeah, I remember her, and I remember her saying in the chat, we were talking about personal year numbers and life paths, and then on another show, it was one of your recent shows, because all month we've been doing shows on numerology. Go back in the
yeah.
archive. We've talked all about numerology, and Michelle talked about Lenormand in numerology, and she talked about the basics of numerology, and in that she talked about life path numbers. Uh, our next show on Wednesday, we're going to go more in depth into that than she did. but I remember her posting in the chat that she was a 44, and I almost fell off my chair because I've been doing numerology for 30 years. I literally thousands of clients. I have never met someone that's a 44 life path.
Wow.
It's that rare.
Yeah,
It's that rare.
I've met now someone with a 44 life path and an 88 destiny number
And you've met a 33, because I'm a
and a
33.
33.
Yeah. What I find as you go up 11, 22, 33, 44, they get more and more rare.
Yeah.
Okay. So 11 is rare. 11 is a rare life path, but not as rare as the 22. And then
Mm-hmm.
33 is more rare than 22, the master builder. 44 is extremely rare, like I said. But a lot of people that are teaching, especially higher concepts like tarot, law of attraction, astrology, runes, they tend to be 11 life paths. You'll find a lot of tarot readers and the other psychic sciences, I'm just going to say to cover it all. They tend to be 11s. I meet a lot of 11s, either their life path, or sometimes it's their attitude numbers in 11, or their destiny numbers 11. It's in there somewhere, you know.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'm a double because my life path is 33, but my attitude number, which is a 4, before you get to that number of structure, it's 22. So I'm the master builder number in the attitude number as well. And then 2 + 2 is 4. 4 is structure. And if you think of structure, you know, that's any kind of structure, whether you're talking about any 4-walled room, building, things like that, but also like contracts or a structure. So when something like architecture, for instance, you know, and you're drawing plans and things like that, you're creating a structure. People that are 44, either their life path or attitude, are drawn a lot to, for instance, anything that has structure. So like the military or police or EMS or um, doctors and nurses and anything where there's a real structure to it. They work better under structure, you know. And I was in the military. There you go. So we always stop at 44, but actually, folks, there's 55, 66, all the way up to 99 in the two-digit master numbers. The reason why we never seem to talk about those other numbers is because think of 55, and as you know, in numbers 1 through 9, you know, 5's the middle point. It's the chaos that takes you out of the structure of 4 back to the harmony and balance of 6, so you can move forward through the numbers. It's a demarcation point. Those numbers don't really function a lot in the physical universe. They're from the spiritual realm. And that's why you don't see 66 and 77 very often. Occasionally, you know, like you mentioned, Michelle, you knew someone that had what was it, an 88? Yeah.
An 88 destiny number.
Destiny.
Yeah.
But that's really rare. I mean,
Right?
because those are numbers that we just don't work with. Now, some master numbers that we do see more is the 3-digit. Yes. When you have the same number, by the way, we should have mentioned in the very beginning that, you know, I know we're doing master numbers. We're supposed to be doing the numerology chart. We'll get off this in a second. I'm just on a tangent because I love master numbers. And we're going to revisit this next Sunday, a week from today. So we talk about angel numbers. So first of all, we should say that all a master number is a number where the digits in the number are the same number. 22, 55. And what that means, and the difference between, say, my 123 example, which reduces to 6, you don't reduce master numbers, because what's going on is the additional of the same number is just amplifying the energy of that number. if you think about it. Yeah. So you don't reduce them because 33 is just the universe wants you to look at that 3 energy, creativity and communication. So when you get an angel number and it's like 444, you don't reduce it. You look at that 4 energy, right?
Mhm.
And so angel numbers, 3-digit master numbers are master numbers. And guess what? It goes all the way out to 9 digits. 99999999999. We just never, use those numbers or get to those numbers because in that higher area, we're talking about, dimensions of space-time and the spiritual realm and the quantum field and, this stuff that it just, it just isn't in the purview of the physical created universe. That's why. So there's a little bit about master numbers, give you guys a taste. I'll try to have a handout with all the master numbers for next Sunday. I better jot that down somewhere. Remember to make handout. Okay. I have a chart floating around somewhere. I'm going to try to find the chart. So what about, and before I go into the topic of the day, 2 things. Been rambling on here. Michelle, welcome to the show. You made it. You weren't very late at
Yes, I
all.
made it. I was late, but I made
Yes.
it.
Yes. And I do want to welcome everybody that has come into the chat during my spiel, like Kirthana. Okay, we're just calling them Kirth. Angela, one of our regulars,
Yes.
Suhani, one of our regulars. And guys, just go ahead and put in your questions. We'll get to questions a little bit later in the show. Okay. And oh, Kier says my date of birth. Okay, so that totals to 10. Okay, so what that would do is you need to further reduce to a single digit. So 1 plus 0 is 1. So you're a 1 life path. So that is the leadership energy. You should never shy away from, taking the reins. You're supposed to be in charge. You should be an entrepreneur. You should run your own business. You shouldn't be working for other people. It's also the people that like to be on stage, So and it's really weird because I meet these people that are 1s, but they're introverts. And I'm like, trust me, if you force yourself, what do we say on this show all the time? Step out of your comfort zone, Ace of Pentacles, get out of the garden,
And he's telling the truth because I'm a 1
Uh-huh.
and I didn't like getting on here at first. I was so nervous,
Yes.
but it just is so natural for me.
What happens with 1s that are working their energy in the negative? See, that's the thing. I'll do it, and we're going to talk about numerology charts. I'll do someone's numerology chart and put it in a report and give it to them. I always do that before I do a tarot reading because it answers half their questions and then the questions change to something else and then we draw cards. That's what normally happens, Sometimes they read the report. It's like, I don't even need the tarot reading now. Anyway, but I do the reports and now I forgot what I was going to say on that. I got confused. It was what you were saying, Michelle.
Oh, about being a 1 and being afraid to get on stage and
Right. So that's what I was getting for, going towards. So I give them the report and, they identify with some of the numbers in the report in their chart, but then others, they go, oh, I'm the 180 degrees backwards from that. This is not right. It's like, no, the chart's right. You're working the energy in the negative. You are paddling upstream. And our job is to show you this as a numerologist so that you can turn your boat around and you can smooth sail along with the current.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So 1s that are introverts, once we tell them that and give them information about strengths and weaknesses and things like that, if they take the initiative to get outside of their comfort zone, they love it. They absolutely. Now, you may need to do a little hypnosis, NLP, to get over stage fright, to get on that first stage. But man, they get on that stage, talk to 500 people, and they just eat it up. And the comedian, the natural comedian, or singer, or musician, or artist comes out in them, and they love being on stage and presenting. And yep. So
Oh,
that's what's
yes.
going on in these charts. If you are not feeling in alignment with what I'm telling you in the chart. So let's talk about these charts. What is a numerology chart? It's like an astrology chart. An astrology chart is mapping out, like especially the natal chart. It's mapping out, where are all the stars? I shouldn't say stars, but planets and heavenly bodies at that exact moment. So if you're looking at a date in the future, you're looking at where everything will be aligned in 2 months. With a natal chart, you're looking at when the person was born. And that's why you need the time of the day and the birth date. We don't need that as numerologists. Okay, because we're not looking for where it's aligned and everything. And it's an image of the sky and where the constellations are and all that kind of stuff. I'm not an astrologer, as you can tell. But a numerology chart is just the 9 numbers that make up your chart based on your name and your birth date. Now, for those of you that are professional readers, what's really cool is that, the sun sign in astrology, everybody knows they're a Gemini or a Sagittarius or whatever. Without knowing their name and doing the calculations, there's apps where you can put the name in and it calculates the numbers and everything. But to do that manually with the chart from Pythagoras gave us the chart with the alphabet and the 9 numbers and how to figure out what letter corresponds. And then you have to painstakingly write all the numbers down and then add them up. And oh my God, we've got apps that do that nowadays, but birth dates are easy to add up. So you can do, what can you do with a birth date? You can do their life path, their attitude number, and their personal year, arguably the 3 most important numbers. And you can do it off the top of your head with just their birth date. You don't have to ask them, what is your birth chart number? Your birth certificate name, and what's the name you go by now, and calculate all that. You don't have to do that. You can, tell them their life path, their personal year number, which is really important to know, right? And their attitude, and then pull cards. But you're going to give them what I call added value by doing numerology for them. It enhances what you're doing. Do you need numerology to do tarot? Absolutely not. But it really helps, because you're giving, especially if you do their whole chart and send it to them in an email before you do the in-person reading or over the line reading, you're really giving them a lot of value ahead of time without it costing you a lot more, except for the time to throw this together. And if you have charts and reports, already on your computer, you can just go in and substitute the names and substitute the numbers. And, we give you, in my course, we give you cheat sheets for all 9 numbers where you can just, there are 7 life paths, 7, just copy, paste it into the report. It's that easy. And it doesn't cost you but a little bit of time. But for the client, oh my God, you're adding so much value. And the reason why my tarot course is called Tarot by the Numbers is because I break up the deck numerologically, all the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4, and I teach the number energy of 1, of 2, of 3, and the cards that fall under that number, which would be obviously under 3 would be card 3, but also card 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. So all the cards from the minor arcana and the major arcana that either are 3 or reduced to 3. And I do that for all 9 numbers. And what I find, and I've been doing this for 21 years, since about 2004, maybe before that, but definitely by 2004, we had formed the Tarot Guild, and in San Diego, California, where I lived before, we were teaching Tarot by the Numbers. And we found out that people have a lot easier time learning tarot that way,
Mm-hmm.
doing it numerologically. So to To give you a
It
visual,
helps. It helps a lot.
right? So to give you a little bit of a visual, let me show you an example chart. I'm just going to pop that up here. Can you guys all see?
Yep.
Going to get a little sip of the coffee. Get your tea and coffee. So, a lot going on here. It looks scary, but it's not. It's really very, very simple. Now, this is an unusual chart because Vanessa asked me to do a chart. And by the way, I got permission when I said, hey, I so rarely do these kind of double charts reports. Would it be okay if I use yours as an example? They're like, oh, yeah, no problem. So she asked me to do a chart and report on her and a chart and report on Timothy. And I decided to put it all together on one report. 2 charts, 1 report. Here's the 2 charts. This is what a numerology chart is. For Timothy, this is what a numerology chart is. You can see that his soul urge number is a master number, 11/2. It's the only master number that appeared. Okay. So normally you're going to have just one person and their name. And the reason for the name in parentheses is what we're doing is we're putting down their birth certificate name and then the name they go by now. So Vanessa married Timothy. She took his last name, Black. So her birth certificate, she had no middle name. And most people have a middle name. You'd put that in. But she had none. So Vanessa Strajewski. Oh boy, I'm butchering that. But the name she goes by now is Vanessa Black. And that's her power name number. We'll get to that in a minute. And then Timothy James Black, that was what was on his birth certificate, but people know him as Tim Black. So that changes the energy. Now, your birth date, which gives you the life path, attitude, and those numbers never change. The personal year number changes obviously with the year because you're adding in the world year number to get that. But most numbers in the chart, you're stuck with that for life. You can't get away from your birth certificate name. You can't get away from your birth date. However, you can change the energy by changing your name. Elton John, he was what? Dwight. I'm trying to remember what was his name.
Oh my gosh, we just talked about this
Yeah.
too.
Dwight Reginald something. Anyway.
Let's see here.
So he changed his name to Elton John, completely changed the energy. That's his power name. So let's look at these, what constitutes a chart, these 9 numbers. First of all, your personal year number, that's this first one right here. And we calculate that, like I said, it comes from the world year number, add it to your attitude number. Okay. So here's the attitude number. Life path number is next. That's your entire birth date. Attitude number, again, month and day of birth only. That gives your attitude. And then obviously there's a birthday number. That is the day on which you were born. So I was born on the 16th. 1 + 6 is 7. So my birthday number is 7. And that's why 7s want to know how the universe works. And that's why I'm attracted to the psychic sciences and sacred geometry and numerology and how the law of attraction works and things like that. This one is your destiny number. That comes from your entire name at birth, the whole name. And then we get your power name. And that is, what is the value reduced to a single digit of just the name most people know you as. Then there is the soul urge. This is from the oops. What was that? Okay, so soul urge number, that's from the the vowels,
The vowels.
the vowels in your birth certificate name. That's why you need a birth certificate to do a full chart. Okay. And the soul urge is it's kind of hidden. It's what our soul yearns for, but we don't put out necessarily into the world. And then the next number is your personality number. That comes from the consonants in the birth name, the birth certificate name. You add them all together and you keep adding, reducing it to a single digit. And the personality is the personality. It's what is on display. Soul urge, you don't see it as much. Personality is on display. Probably the first thing that someone, when they first meet you, that they notice about you is your attitude number. Your attitude is what they first see. And then secondarily, the personality number. And then lastly, there's the intensity number. The intensity number is when you take the birth certificate name and you I don't know how to say it, translate those letters into numbers, and you look at the numbers and what number appears most frequently in their name. Now it gets a little complicated, but that's the basis of it, and I'm not going to go into what we teach in the course because there is a little bit of an art to it.
Yeah.
Because the English language has, for instance, way too many ones and way too many fives in all words. So numerologists to accurately calculate it, what we do is if there's like, I don't know, 4 of the number 5 in your name, we don't count that as 4 5s. We count every 3 as 1. So we might count it as 1 or 2, not 4. Same thing with the number 1. You may have like 5 1s in your name. We'll count that as like 2.
See, I've also come up with a system for that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, tell us about it.
So what I have found, especially with my name, I have a lot of 5s. So what I have done is I take my 5s.
Because you're crazy. That 5 chaotic energy.
Yes. And I put them in. So this 5 corresponds with this letter. How many letters do I have? And so if I have 4 E's, I'm going to take a couple out. And then, but I want to keep as many of the consonants as I can, unless they're repeating letters. And then that way I can boil my 5 down a little more scientifically.
That's cool. Yep. Different numerologists do it different ways. Some don't even talk about the intensity number. Others don't know or don't pay attention to the 1s and the 5s being too prevalent. But what I found in having done, literally hundreds, if not thousands of charts, is that and I always, look at the name and I reduce the 1s and 5s, and often a different intensity number will appear. Like with Timothy, it was 2. I find that it fits that person much better than if I had, left the 6 5s that are in their name or whatever. And so through experience, I can see that works. And so that's why I continue to do it. So that's it, folks. That is what a numerology chart is. And then
it's an important question.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What if you were born with this, and this reads on your original birth certificate, and then you were adopted?
Mm-hmm.
So your name reads differently. So which one would you use?
You use whichever one you've got, really. This is where things get tricky. This is where, because there's people that do not know what their birth name is.
That's true.
They never had an original birth certificate. They're adopted, and then they get a new birth certificate, but that's not the name they were originally given when they were born. They were originally given a name, and then for some circumstances or other, they never got a birth certificate. It makes it really tricky. It does. What I would say, somebody that has like two birth certificates because they have their original and then they were adopted, you go with the original.
Okay.
Yep. And so through adoption, and let's say they change your first name and last, or they keep the first name, but they add the last name from the new family, that is a power name number. That is just like changing, Elton John's name, Dwight, Reginald, whatever, to Elton John.
Okay.
So it's
And
it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Yeah. And like I always said, all is not lost if you can't get their birth certificate name. Just do their life path, their attitude number, and their personal year number. That's why these three numbers are first on my chart, is because they come from the birth date. And you almost always can get a birth date. Now, sometimes people don't know their birth date either. It makes it really difficult then. But for 99.9% of your clients, you're not going to have this issue.
I don't know. I've known people that one of these women that I knew her like 20 years.
Mhm.
And out of the blue, she, said something about, I said, oh, by the way, happy birthday. And she said, it's not my birthday. And I said, we've been celebrating your birthday on this day for the last 20 years. What changed? And she says, well, my mom finally told me it's not my real birthday. It's just the day that we always celebrated it. My birthday is. And I went,
Right.
and you just now found out. She was 45.
Yes.
wow.
Let me give you an example. So that can happen with astrology as well. So if you find out, no, I was really born on this date, not this date.
Yeah.
It's the date you were really born on.
Okay.
So you've been calculating it wrong. If you're doing numerology, your whole life, you got to go. Same thing in astrology. I know people that have done their astrology chart multiple times. Then they find out their mom or dad, told them that they were born on this date at 12:35 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then they find out years and years, decades later, from their Aunt Sue, who says, no, I was there when you were born. You were born at 1 a.m. You were not born at 12:35 p.m. Get your birth certificate, or your, not your birth certificate, but your birth, what do they call it? From
Announcement.
The
Yeah.
the thing from the hospital has the actual stamps, and we use footprints and everything. And sure enough, they were born at 1 a.m. Well, when you put that in the the astrology calculator, and it puts that, because we used to use the ephemerises that are this thick. Now it's all digital. You just have it. You have an app. You put it in. When they put in 1 a.m., the heavenly bodies have moved. It's a completely different natal chart. You got to go by the real thing. And if a numerologist or an astrologer makes a mistake, and that's happened too, I've gotten charts to people and they said, oh, wait, you got the wrong date here. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Give me the correct date. And then I'll just regenerate their chart.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, things can happen. But in general, most of us know our birth date. Most of us know our birth name. And obviously we know what we go by today.
Oh, yeah.
And another thing you can do, if you have two birth certificates, you can always add them both onto the chart if you want.
You could look at the
Absolutely.
energy. You could look at the
Yeah.
energy. Yeah. And that's what I always tell people, is that you're working with a client and you're giving them what you're seeing, just like you do with the pulling tarot cards, and you look at the cards and you're telling them what you see. Sharing different energies and how that affects other things and so forth. That's the art of numerology, is how it affects things. And then when you're doing two charts like this, what you're looking at is what do you guys have in common, look, they're both born on the 8, you know. Where is there differences, especially when numbers are challenge numbers to each other?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, you're going to have a problem here, you know, because she's got this 7 energy here and you've got the 5 energy. And so she wants to hermit in the house and do her do like a oh god, what do they call it? Not astrology. What do they call it? Ancestry. So she's doing her she wants to stay home, do the ancestry chart. He's got the 5 energy. He wants to go ride roller coasters.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of doing a double chart numerology analysis and doing their charts and doing the analysis, because you can tell them there's that rub there, and then they can work with that, and they can go, okay, let's compromise. Tomorrow we'll ride roller coasters. Today we'll do the ancestry chart. That's what's really cool about these reports. And real quickly, let me finish up with the reports, because we talked about the chart and the 9 numbers that are in the chart. And then, you want to put it into a report so that they have something, and you can do it in Word, or some apps actually will pump this stuff out for you. I do all of mine manually.
Yeah.
Yes, I have the cheat sheets. And yes, I do copy and paste information about individual numbers. But I do my own analysis at the end, and I'm going to show you that in a second, and put the chart together completely. I have a template. Like I would use this as my template for I'm doing a report on 2 people. I would just change the names, change the numbers, and then change the numbers down here. So let's see here. You can then save your Word document, or if you're doing pages on a Mac, you can save any of those formats into a PDF. That's what I recommend, because PDFs can be opened and read on any system, any phone, any tablet, any computer. And then what I do is I like to put the chart at the top here, explain, I do the abbreviations because you can't fit it all in there, the full words. So I highlight this in a different color and, put the key, like a map has a key. And then I always start off with, even though it's not in the chart, I always start out with the world year or universal year number, so they know, where everybody is coming from and what that energy is. As you can see, 2015 adds up to 8. I did this chart all the way back in 2015. Then I go into the personal year number so that they know where they are in their own cycle, and then they can look at the world year number and the energy they're in. And then another great thing about looking at the personal year number is, and it's why it's the very first one, it's because in this case, Vanessa was in an 8 personal year, which also matched up with the world year number of 8, but Timothy's back in a 4. So they're in different places. So you have to, and there's the art of numerology again. As a numerologist, you have to explain that, and why what Vanessa's trying to do in an 8 year is going to be different from what Timothy's trying to do in a 4 year. And then if you're a couple, you need to compromise that, you see. Then, of course, arguably the most important number, like your sun sign, Gemini, Taurus, the life path number. What is their life path? That is arguably the most important thing. And then if they're a master number, explaining that to them. Then their attitude number, then the birthday number. And here I say birthday numbers. I'm doing because I'm doing the double chart. And so I'm comparing, telling them what each of theirs is, and then how they mesh together, or they're at loggerheads. Their destiny number, which is arguably an important number out of the 9 number chart, their power name, how the energy has slightly changed. This also informs a lot of people when you look at the power name, what they're going at now. What was the energy on your birth certificate? What's your energy now? And some people will then want to change the energy even again once they find it out. Also, a lot of expecting parents go to numerologists to run by names.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because you can look at what that energy is going to be. And if they're suggesting, it's like, well, we're thinking of calling him John Frank Johnson. And you look at what that energy is, but people aren't going to be calling him John Frank Johnson. They're going to be calling him Johnny Johnson or Jade Johnson or John Johnson. And then you can look at what the power name numbers are. In fact, you can do all of them and show it to somebody, and they can go, okay. So when we abbreviate his name and we call him, the best energy is Johnny, and we're going to do that. So really cool. So, and you can do it with names of businesses,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then there's the soul urge numbers, the personality numbers, the intensity number. And then you do a summation where you talk about the world year number, relation to the personal year number, certain factors that you see in their chart, numbers that they might have this number and this number in their chart, and those are challenge numbers. And it's like I feel like I'm bipolar. It's like, well, yeah, because you have a 5 here and you got a 7 there. You can fill them in on all this information. And then if you're doing a comparison, an analysis between two charts, that they're a couple, or you and your boss, you and your parents, you and your kids, you and your best friend, you and your coworkers, then in the summation, I would be saying, okay, his chart says this, your chart says this. He's in a personal year of such and such. You're in a personal year of such and such. So they know what's going on. And that's what a report is, as opposed to the chart itself. So there you go. Now you know everything about charts and reports. And if you want to learn how to do all this, it's a lot easier than it looks. My course goes through the whole thing, all 9 number energies, all the tarot cards, and then how to do these calculations, come up with the 9 numbers, how to put a chart together. I give you all the cheat sheets and everything like that. Anybody in the chat, or Michelle, Pamela, do either of you have anything you want to bring up or ask questions about? I don't know.
just went blank.
Yeah. I'm looking in the Suhani says something about, I read a book, The Black Arts by Richard Cavendish. 11 and 22 are exception. Yeah, I know you don't reduce 11 and 22. Those are master numbers. Here's an interesting fact we'll talk about when we talk about master numbers next week. A lot of numerologists only talk about 11, 22.
Yeah.
Or at most 11, 22, and 33. They never talk about 44 because it's so rare.
Yep.
I talk about all 4 of them. Like numerologists take 11 and 22 as special, as they believe people with these totals are fortunate and excellent number to have, as they represent a higher plane experience than the rest of 1 through 9. That's partially true, what she's saying there. It's not that they're exceptional. It's that they're here to do something special. So take 11, master illuminator number. We're here to illuminate. If our life path or attitude number or destiny number is 11, we're here to illuminate the path for the rest of it. Think of the hermit, and he's holding, or she's holding, a lantern, lighting the path ahead for everybody else. That may come in the form of doing courses, teaching courses, writing books, creating decks. It may be in coaching or counseling people, or being a reader, or what have you, psychic advisor. A lot of them are master number 11, life paths or attitude numbers or destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're illuminating the path. Now it reduces to 2. That's not, life path 2 is a great life path. And if you're not working the energy in its maximum of being an 11, that's fine, but 11s have this opportunity, have a predisposition to do that, to be the master illuminators. It doesn't mean they're exceptional. It doesn't mean they're special people. I know a lot of them feel that way.
Right.
I as a super rare 33, I feel that way. I honest to God, I don't have an attitude about it or something like that, but I do feel the weight of it, and that I'm trying to help and heal and teach as many people as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
The 33 being the master healer, master teacher number is very in alignment with the 11, where the big difference, if there is a difference, because it doesn't always follow this pattern, but a lot of times 11s are teaching individuals and small groups up to 500 people. 33s are trying to hit the masses. They have the big websites, they have the big radio shows, they have the big YouTube channels. They're trying to get the information out to thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. That's the teaching difference. But also 33 has the added master healer aspect of it.
Right.
And so unlike the 11s, they may be more drawn to the healing arts, to being a Reiki master, a hypnotherapist, NLP practitioner, things like that. Any other questions about this in the chat? Let me see.
Here's the Hermit card, just to give a view for those who need the visual. There's your Hermit card.
Yeah. And the end of their staff has a glowing gem there that's lighting up the path ahead. I like the Waite Smith version, and versions of that where they're holding the lantern, because I think it talks about it. I mean, it presents really what it's about shining the light on the path ahead for everybody. So you might have a bunch of people with you, and you're shining the path, shining the light of wisdom. Okay, I'm checking just to make sure we didn't miss any numerology questions in the chat here.
Looks like.
Okay. And I know we're way over time. We're actually supposed to have stopped the show 11 minutes ago, but I love talking about these topics, and we'll try to squeeze in some questions, and then we got to get out of here, but we'll be back next Sunday with master numbers. Now on Wednesday, Michelle and Charlotte should be joining us. We'll be talking about going more in depth into your life path number, arguably the most important number in the chart. Hang on a second as I go all the way back to the very beginning, because Taya had the first question. What are Siddharth's Taurus, their current feelings towards me? I'm an Aries. So Michelle, you want to pull cards on that one?
Yes. And
I'm going to look for the next question.
What are Siddharth's current feelings towards me?
Oh, and I was looking for the next question. I was going to give it to you, Pam. And the next question is from first name, last name. And they specifically asked, question for Pam. So you could. So before you go into that, Michelle, let me just hand this off to Pamela so she can still start pulling cards already. Question for Pam: current reading related to where I'm living, as in PA. I guess she's living in PA. If when you see me moving soon. So it's a moving question, Pam, for first name, last name. I guess they're living in PA now.
I've already pulled the cards. I started answering it in chat because I wasn't sure we'd have time. But yeah, when Michelle's done, I'll finish up.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Okay. So for Tasia, I like that. I have the Four of Pentacles as well as the Two of Cups. So his feelings towards you are more than friendship. However, we also have the Hierophant card, the card of the day, from Pam's deck, and there is something you both need to focus on and learn from before you try to jump into a relationship. He may be feeling strong feelings for you, but this guy is saying you guys need to really take the time to get to know each other, as friends before anything else. So if he comes up to you and he's all roses and flowers, step back, be patient, and start out as friends. Okay. So that's what I'm seeing.
Awesome. What are you getting, Pam?
Well, I started answering it because, like I said, I wasn't sure. And the first card I pulled was the Ace of Wands, and this is new opportunities, energies, and things like that. A new life path, as it were. But the other thing is that wands represent more summertime, okay, in the way that I read them. So start looking for some major changes around the solstice, like around June 21st. But in order to get there, you need to do two things. One, you need to tear down what you're already holding on to that is holding you back. Okay, these are the two cards that you need to address before you can pull out of there, because you don't move without emptying your garbage cans. Okay, so what you need to do right now is you don't have much time. You got about 3 months until this is going to be real. It's going to be real. So by letting go and, well, maybe rehoming some of the things that you are holding on to that you don't know what you're going to do with and you can't really figure it out, rehome those things. Give them to somebody who is willing to take them on. Okay. And the second thing is be aware that the bulldozers are coming in to flatten the playing area. So you may as well start house hunting because you're going to need it. All right. So yeah, it is you've got a definite yes here, but you got a lot of work to do. Okay. So I hope that makes sense.
Okay. Hang on just a second. I'm finishing putting some stuff in the chat here. Okay, I have cards for the next question, but Michelle, let me get you going ahead of time here. The next one after that is Sahani. I'm doing Kirthanas. Sahani does Shahil have feelings for me?
And so I pulled three
Hold on,
cards.
hold on. I'm gonna do
Okay.
Kirthanas. I'm just giving you the question
Okay.
for after that so you can pull cards on it ahead.
Awesome.
Okay, and I already partially answered this because that was when we were doing the numerology and Kirth put in their date of birth, which they said total 10. And I continued the reduction. I said, well, you finish the reduction by doing 1 + 0 is 1. You're actually 1. And remember, that's when I talked about leadership and ones and being on stage and all of that. But they actually asked a question. Kirth asked, can you please tell me how successful I can be? Well, I already, through numerology, talked about how these are the leaders. You can be very successful. I mean, you can with any life path number, but 8s, 1s, yeah. Artists, if you're a 3, 6, just throwing that out there, and 9s. 9 pretty much covers everything. But I did pull a couple of cards. I got the Two of Cups and the Two of Pentacles. Now, this is where numerology comes into tarot. Do you need numerology? No, you can just pull cards and say what you see. But the beauty of knowing about numerology is I know when I'm getting multiple cards with the same number that I'm supposed to look at that. Okay. So this is giving us the clue how to be more successful for you, Kirthana, how to be more successful, how to find that success is 2 is about relationships. it's mediation, it's counseling people, coaching people, working with other people. So what these cards are telling me is that you're going to be more successful, and that 2 energy, you're going to be the most successful when you work with other people, when you have a business partner, when you're working with people, helping them with their issues. I mean, all business, everything that's done in the universe is creating value for another person. You're solving other people's problems. I don't care what you're doing, pumping gas or being a life coach. It's all solving a problem for someone. Okay. But this is working more closely, like as a coach or a counselor. Okay. Where there's a problem you're solving, where it's very personal, it's with the other person and possibly with a partner. So that's what I got for you, Kirthana. And Michelle, you can go ahead with what you got for Suhani.
Okay. So for Suhani, you asked if, I got to go back real quick, if they have feelings for you. So, I have the World card, which I really didn't need to go any further for that, but we have the Lovers card. So those are 2 big yeses that he has feelings for you. However, we did get the King of Wands, which is good. That indicates that he is a sure person. He's compassionate. This shows his soft side, but the advice that I'm getting from the 2 of Wands is that you need to take careful consideration and planning before jumping into this relationship. And this seems to be a theme coming up, but check all of yourself first and make sure you are ready to be in a relationship, because it seems like this person is. And the 2 of Wands is just cautioning you to check yourself and make sure you are the one that is prepared. Okay,
Awesome.
so that's what I have for you.
And in the chat, Melissa says, I really want to thank you so much. What you told me has come true. We love the
Awesome.
feedback. Thank you very much, Melissa. And I think we have time for one more question. This is going to Pamela. It's from Cold Wind. My life path is 1. Another 1. That's really cool. May I have a reading about current romantic relationship? So I'm assuming Cold is in a relationship.
That's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah, what's
Mhm.
coming up around that, Pam?
Well, the first card I got is the 2 of Cups, which means that
Oh,
the most important part of this relationship is going to be communication. Now, the first person that you have to be very clear with is yourself, okay? And that is double down because you got the 9 of Cups reversed. This means clarify your wish. Whatever you're wishing for, it's not clear. So in other words, if you're saying to the universe, there again, we're back to this, I want to be happy. I want this relationship. Wanting is a bad thing to put out there because the universe is, she's really literal. And so you get the exquisite experience of wanting. Okay. So clarify your wish and make sure it's extremely clear, whatever you're asking for. The final card I pulled, the moon. Everything's changing right now. There's cycles moving in and out constantly. So pay close attention to what your cycles are telling you, because right now, nothing's clear. The relationship is possible, and probable, but you need to be clear about you before any of this is going to work. Nothing's going to complete you except you. Remember that, okay?
awesome. And we are at the end of the show. My computer is saying 1222.
Oh, mine
Yep,
too.
mine too.
Yeah.
Oh, we all
Yes.
match.
And we were,
Nice.
I was just, I just pulled cards with 2 cards. And we were talking about that 2 energy, and here we are all together. It all comes together. It's just,
Fabulous.
it's like a little
Yes.
message from the universe. 1222. 1 is, look how many people in the chat, their life path number is 1, right? and then there's that 2 energy, and 222 is showing. So, people often ask when I'm seeing, these numbers, you know, and oftentimes, they may be a combination of different numbers, but more frequently it's like 444, 1111. It's master numbers. And so
Now we're 123.
so we're going to be talking about that next Saturday. No, Sunday. I'm sorry,
Next
Sunday.
Sunday.
And remember, life path numbers on Wednesday, but next Sunday, hopefully Pamela will join us, and we'll talk about, seeing those numbers all the time, and master numbers and angel numbers, and which are master numbers, and what all that means. Oh, real quickly, I'll just show, here it is. What's your life path Wednesday?
Yeah.
What are master numbers on Sunday? Hey, maybe Charlotte will join us and it'll be 4 of us.
Ooh, that would be fun. Yeah.
That'd be great. And so we're not doing any more questions. And I see some people, even people that have already asked questions, asking questions again, a new one. We only do 1 question per person in the chat, unless you're a member and you join us on the Zoom, or unless you buy us a cup of coffee. We didn't mention this yet on today's show. Go to psychic.cafe/coffee and grab us a cup of coffee during the show. Or if you're going to be asking a question, like on Wednesday's show or next Sunday, go ahead and buy a cup of coffee. Let me know. And guess what? We're going to take your question first. No waiting. Go right to it. Spend more time. Let you ask more than one thing.
Yep.
That's how it works. And before we get out of here, last thing I want to mention, because we don't mention it enough, is you too can become a host on the network. And there's all kinds of information at psychic.cafe/host. There's different ways that you can join us. You can create your own custom show, like Michelle has Michelle's Mystic Corner, the Angelic View with Ginger and Maria put that together. And we've had a lot of other shows on the network over the last 15 years.
Yeah.
They, hosts come and go, shows come and go. That's why I want another, we had Sunny on yesterday, and that's why I really want a mediumship show, because I miss having a mediumship show. It's really popular. So you can join our network as a co-host and get your feet wet. Just, like Michelle and Pamela are doing right now. You can just come on as a co-host on a regularly scheduled show as a host and get your feet wet first. Or you can jump in, maybe you want your own custom show right now first, and we'll help you get that started. We're not going to throw you out, hand you a mic and let you wing it. We'll come on, Michelle, me, Pamela, others will come on and help you get your show going. And then you can go solo. But that's exactly what Michelle did. I was her co-host for several months. At least it felt that way. I don't know. It was a few months. So Michelle got comfortable, and now she does her show solo.
Yep.
But because we're letting members and staff members and hosts join us on the live shows, yesterday there was 4 of us.
It was fun.
It was awesome. Oh, Dr. Rose just popped in. Hi,
Dr. Rose.
Is Dr. Rose. We got to get you on a show, Rose. Maybe you can join us next Sunday. We're going to be on next Sunday or Wednesday. Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific or 11 a.m. Pacific next Sunday. Dr. Rose, get a hold of me. Message. Anyway, we got to get out of here. Thanks, everybody. It was fun. Hour and a half. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Yay, we're out of here.
Right on.
Well, that was fun.